When you think about the history of English literature, there's one name that basically stands at the starting line. A figure so important, he's often called the father of English poetry, Geoffrey Chaucer.
But that kind of begs a big question, right? Why are we still talking about a poet from the 1300s? What on earth did he do that was so revolutionary that we're still studying him 6 centuries later? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down right now.
So here's our game plan. We're going to meet the man himself, see how his wild career as a diplomat actually shaped his poetry, watch how his travels totally transformed his writing, then we'll dive into his masterpiece, the Canterbury Tales, and finally, we'll get into his most important legacy of all.
All right, first up, let's meet Geoffrey Chaucer. Now, the real key to understanding this guy is getting a handle on this incredible mix of literature and real, actual life that he poured into his work.
This right here gets to the absolute heart of his genius. See, Chaucer wasn't some reclusive scholar hiding in a library, not at all. He was a man of the world, and he funneled everything he saw, all his experiences, directly into his art. He basically combined what he read in books with what he saw happening on the bustling streets of medieval London.
And that brings us to his education. And I say that because it wasn't just about studying old texts. His real education came from his life as a soldier, a courtier, and a diplomat. Let's look at how this man of the world became a world-class poet.
I mean, just look at this resume. He's born to a merchant family, then serves in the army and even gets captured. Then he's off to Italy as a diplomat. He comes back to run the customs office for the entire Port of London, and he even becomes a member of Parliament. This wasn't some side gig. This was his life.
So here's the crucial takeaway. All these different jobs gave him a front row seat to every single level of medieval society. He was rubbing elbows with knights, merchants, politicians, and everyday workers. He saw their hopes, their secrets, their flaws, all of it, and he stored it all away for his writing.
Now, all this real-world experience got a massive boost from his travels, and these journeys sparked a huge evolution in his writing style, especially the shift he made from French influences to Italian ones.
And this visual just lays it out perfectly. His early stuff, heavily inspired by French poetry, was all about allegories and dream visions. Very formal, very stylized. But then, boom, he travels to Italy. He starts reading Dante and Boccaccio, and suddenly his work pivots to psychological realism and these incredibly complex, messy characters. It was a total game changer.
What he found in Italy was a way to write about people as they actually are. You know, contradictory, funny, flawed, real. This focus on what makes people tick was basically unheard of in English writing at the time, and Chaucer brought it home.
And all of this, his life, his travels, his new writing style, it all comes together in his masterpiece, the Canterbury Tales. And it's so much more than just a collection of stories. It's a living, breathing portrait of an entire society.
The setup alone is brilliant. A bunch of pilgrims from every corner of society are traveling to Canterbury, and they tell stories to pass the time. And just look at this cast. You've got the noble knight, the prim and proper prioress, the money-obsessed merchant, the rowdy miller. I mean, everybody is here. It's a perfect snapshot of medieval England.
But here's the real magic. Chaucer describes all of them, warts and all, but he does it with this gentle, knowing humor. He seems more amused by their humanity than he is critical or judgmental. He just sees people for who they are, and he invites us to do the same.
And just think about the sheer ambition of this thing. He planned for 120 tales, but only managed to complete 24 before he died. Even unfinished, the scope of what he was trying to do is just staggering.
But honestly, his most profound legacy might not even be his characters. It might be the very words he used to write them. We're talking about how he literally helped build the foundation of modern English.
See, you have to remember, at the time, the official language of the court, of literature, of power was French. English was considered the language of the common people, and it was fractured into all these different regional dialects. Chaucer made a very conscious, very bold choice to write in his local London dialect of what we now call Middle English.
And we really can't overstate how radical this was. By choosing to write his life's work in the language of the people, not the elites, he gave it legitimacy. He proved that English was a language capable of creating great art, and in doing so, he helped make his London dialect the standard for the English language.
So, to sum it all up, Chaucer's legacy is immense. He brought real, psychologically deep characters to English literature for the first time. He captured his entire world on the page like a photograph, and he championed the very language that would eventually become the global language we all use today.
He used his incredible art to give a voice to the people of his era. from the very top of society to the very bottom. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? Whose stories and whose languages are we choosing to elevate today?